Hey guys, Drew here with GODZ Manufacturing, bringing you a new video today on how to install the BD Diesel TS booster. This is an inline throttle booster that's going to plug directly into the pedal of the vehicle itself. And then we're going to show you how we're routing this wiring and how we're going to get it mounted nice and flush into the dash itself. Basically what this thing does is it increases the sensitivity of the actual pedal itself. So you've got things like eco mode, street, sport, race, and then you have ludicrous, also known as rocket ship mode. And basically anything, or what it's doing is it's increasing the input into the actual truck itself. And when you tap your pedal, it's basically saying that you're holding it wide open and it's allowing you to get off the line a little bit faster. It is going to kill your miles per gallon, but it is going to also increase your miles per gallon. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this to the truck and we'll talk about what we need to do next. Before we jump over to the truck, we'll do a quick what's in the box here. So it's going to arrive to you like this. We'll go ahead and pop that open. You're gonna get some instructions. You're gonna get the actual TS booster itself. There are a few stickers. We've got a BD Power one, and then we've got some shiny chrome ones for you wieners in California, saying it's CARB compliant. And then we have a few zip ties as well to basically tidy up our wiring underneath the dash. So I'll move these items to the side here. Talk about the booster itself. So this guy has about a 1 meter, 3-foot plug that goes from basically your dash down to your pedal. On the end of this harness, you've got 2 plugs. Our installation is going to look a little something like this. We're going to go underneath the dash, which is generally an uncomfortable situation for a full-grown man. You're going to unplug your pedal from the OEM harness, and then you're going to connect one side of the booster into the OEM harness, one side of the booster into the pedal. Basically what this is doing is it's taking the input from the pedal, it's sending it through the plug up to the booster itself. The booster is then pushing it back out into the truck, and based off your settings in the booster itself, that's telling you where your throttle needs to be. So if you're in eco mode and you smash it, you're probably not going to go very fast. Versus if you just feather the throttle in the ludicrous, aka rocket ship mode, you're going to throw your head back in the seat and probably take off like a rocket ship. So obviously there's settings in between, but we'll go ahead, get over to the vehicle, we'll point out what plug needs to be undone, how we're going to route this, and then we'll go ahead and show you how to mount it to the dash as well. Sitting here in the sun, we took our floor mat out because it was gross and I don't really feel like laying on it. Obviously you can see your pedals down there. You've got the emergency brake, your brake pedal, and then obviously on the far right we've got our gas. When you crawl under the dash, what you need to identify is the plug going into the pedal itself. That plug is going to be located basically towards the seat on the top left corner. So if I crawl in here, my hand is on the plug right now. So it's right up here. It's super easy to access. But the reality is you're probably gonna have to lay on your back and get that one unplugged. So let's go ahead and do that here, and then we'll talk about what we need to do after the pedal is unplugged. Now that the pedal is unplugged from the OEM truck harness, let's talk about what we need to do with these. So this guy here with your red release tab is going to be what we're plugging into the pedal itself. The smaller side of the plug is going to go into the OEM harness. It's really all there is to it. So I'm going to crawl under there. I'm going to go ahead and plug this side into the pedal first, and then I'm going to plug this into the OEM harness, and then we'll talk about routing this up to the dash next. Both sides are now plugged in. When you plug the TS booster into the pedal, make sure that you click the red lever in to lock it in place, and then you'll hear an audible click on the opposite side that goes into the OEM harness. That way you know everything's locked in. What we need to do next is take care of that lieutenant dangle that's hanging there underneath the dash. We're gonna go ahead and push that up through. This is pretty hard to show you guys because it is underneath the dash, but just route it out of the way of anything that might be moving, like your steering wheel column, things along those lines. And then we're going to pop this out on the right-hand side of the driver's steering wheel. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll show you some pictures and video next. All right, so I pushed that through. That's obviously not its final position, but I wanted to pull up enough slack to get it all done. What I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna mount it to the dash. Pick a spot that you like, clean it off with some alcohol, peel off the backing of that 3M tape, and then from there, we'll just go ahead and stick it to the dash, give it some pressure, and try to do this when it's warm. Warm is relative, but try to do it above 40 degrees. That's when most of these adhesives work the best. And once it's in place, just leave it there, let that adhesive really set to what it's sticking to. So I'm gonna go ahead, pick a spot, clean it, and go ahead and stick down the TS booster to the dash. All right, so I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Cameraman Grant is in the passenger seat. The spot that we are going to mount our TS booster is right here above the start-stop button for the engine. This is in a 4th gen 2500, just in case any of you guys are wondering. But we're going to go ahead, mount it here. We've gone ahead, we've cleaned it off with alcohol. At this point, I'm just going to take this 3M tape backing with my freshly cut fingernails and struggle to pull it off. All right, so pull off that tape here. And then I just want to make sure my wiring is out of the way. And then I'm going to mount this pretty much to my liking. There's not really a rhyme or reason to this. I want to try to have it as accessible as possible when I'm driving. That way, if I need to roast somebody in a Tesla, I can put it in rocket ship mode and do so. And then once I get it in place, I'm just going to kind of give it some even pressure on the sides, and I'm gonna wiggle it back a little bit just so I can try to get the spring that's in that 3M tape to really bite into the dash itself. And then from there, once it's on, you can go ahead and pull off that clear little sticker that says peel off before installation, but I didn't want to scratch this when I was pushing it through the dash. But this is mounted, this is good to go. We'll go ahead and pull this wiring back through the inside of the dash next. And then really all it is making sure that you zip tie that up nice and neat, out of the way of your feet, and obviously your brake pedal and your gas pedal, because we obviously do not want to be causing any accidents. So bundle this up and zip tie it up high, zip tie it to an OEM harness, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, so this is the inside of our TS booster box. This is the legend that kind of shows you what all of these different symbols mean. So right now we are in eco mode. We can see that with a green leaf. The eco mode is going to be a negative 25%. To basically turn up the throttle sensitivity, all we'll do is hit this little plus button. We'll get a street, i.e. street mode, which is going to be plus 50% sensitivity. From there, we'll jump up to our little odometer looking thing. That's going to be our sport mode at plus 75% sensitivity. From there, we get our checker flag for race mode at plus 100%. You have one more level to go, that's ludicrous mode, but you can't just bump up to it. You have to press and hold the plus button. Takes about 5 seconds here. And then you'll see a little flashing rocket ship. This is plus 300%. Very, very sensitive, probably not great for daily driving, but it's gonna be really good for ear-to-ear grins. To get out of it, you can just bump that negative. We can go back through to eco mode, see that leaf. And then we also have one more way to dumb down the truck in terms of throttle sensitivity. If we press and hold the negative here, we'll get some red keys. This puts it in valet mode, and it turns your throttle sensitivity down to negative 50% of stock. So it's really going to just kind of kill all of the liveliness of the truck. That way, no red jacketed valet drivers are hot rodding your stuff. To get out of it, you can just press and hold that minus one more time. And that's gonna put you back into your eco mode, and then you can bounce through there and drive accordingly. So we're good to go. This install is fully done. Like I said, make sure everything is zip tied up underneath the dash, away from your gas and your brake pedal. Other than that, enjoy your TS booster and the smiles that it's going to give you and the panic it's going to incite in your girlfriend.